I'm aemok.
Madam Hexe.
Kaitlyn, kayce.
And this is Trouble Comes in 3. This podcast is about scandalous topics like sexual health, polyamory, kink, and
Communication.
Which I'm failing at this week again. If you are under the age of 18, please go to scarletteen.com. And if you are over 18, join us for the fun. Today's topic, we're going to actually focus in on a particular play style.
Yay!
There are happy, devious fingers happening around the table this evening. So, Madam Hexe teaches a super informative, but also makes my panties drop class on cigar play.
Cigar Service.
Yeah. So,
I have
Let
to
me
say,
just
before we got suckered into all this, doing your intro, I wanted to be like, bugger off. if you're under 18, bugger off. But I didn't want to interrupt you, but I felt that was worth verbalizing. Yeah. But cigars, yes, cigar play, cigar service.
So you were very experienced. Obviously, you teach.
Yes.
I would hope you were very experienced.
Yes. Before you try to impose it on somebody else.
I have almost no experience with it because for a long time it was something that I was very standoffish about because of the past history of trauma that related to cigarettes. I kind of stayed away from the any and all smoking related anythings.
Yeah.
Until I made the realization that cigars and cigar play and cigar service is a very different situation than somebody who just smokes cigarettes. Sure. I am, as of this last year, started to get interested in...
Dip your toe in the water.
Yeah, kind of dipping my toe in that direction.
Sniff it out a little, so to speak.
And then, what's your experience?
So we kind of make a perfect circle again. I'm kind of right in that middle ground. I had my introduction into cigar play and service actually on the cigarette side of things. Okay. And so with my current partner, we our whole relationship really was based off of our first scene, which revolved around the cigarette and being burned with it.
I didn't know it was your first scene.
It was the first time we did any form of play, and so it wasn't a full scene, but we were outside at FPE, and he was smoking, and he smokes menthols, and my grandpa used to smoke menthols, and so it's a very happy scent for me. It tickled your child in a weird way. It tickled my child in a weird way. And, if I'm going to smell cigarettes, I want to smell menthols. Okay. And so, that was a little bit helpful.
I gotcha.
And, I was watching him smoke, and we were talking, and I was just, very, intrigued by the cigarette itself.
A little bit by the smell and all.
Enjoying the smell, and he apologized for, blowing it on me. I was like, no, it's fine. Really.
Do it again.
And I had mentioned that, as a masochist, I'd always wondered what it would be like to be, burned by one. And he was like, may I? I was like... You may. And so that kind of went down a very long road of lots and lots of cigarette burns and play and eating ash.
I was going to say, is burning the only type of play you do with cigarettes?
So I do eat the ash as well. It is definitely a more edgy play because it comes inherently with the same risks that smoking cigarettes do, as well as a little bit more because you're actually ingesting the ash. Sure. And so it's a dangerous form of play. It's not healthy for you to do, and it's something I acknowledge, and it's something that we limit a lot now.
Sure. But it's in your risk tolerance.
But it's in my risk profile, and it should ever change. That's the word. Yeah. And so it kind of led me down the road of finding out cigar service was a thing. Because I always liked lighting his cigarettes, and then... So, the cigar side of things I find a little bit more sexy and a little bit more sensual. It's not so much that, familiarity thing as it is the act of service and the formality that it can have. And so, but I'm still kind of a baby when it comes to, formal cigar service. I'll cut it, I'll light it. Right. I'll
to be honest,
have the smoke blown in my face.
Most of the service part comes from cutting, lighting, and ashing.
Yeah.
I like to think of cigars as kind of the grown-up version of smoking cigarettes. It's more elevated, a little more bougie.
I don't find the smell as repulsive.
Okay, because and you find a lot of people that don't like cigarettes are okay with cigar smoke. Not always, but the big difference is
it's a cleaner burn
because it's just tobacco. It is just tobacco leaves wrapped up with each other and some potato starch. It's yucca, but because we're in the Tampa Bay area, so they use yucca powder, which is a root vegetable. So essentially, it's potato starch to seal it up. Cigarettes have all kinds of nonsense in it, and actually very little tobacco.
Carbon fiberglass and the filter. So don't chew on the filters.
Yeah, don't
Poison
do that,
girls.
you nasty bastard.
I thought you said poison girls, and I was like, yeah, that's basically
that
what that
too.
means.
Yes. So a little bit about cigars. I know when we think about cigars, we kind of imagine like the big business guy, the wealthy guys on the golf course. Men, powerful men smoking cigars. It's got this very illustrious kind of hyper-masculine feel to it. And that is kind of how it found its way in the gay leather community worldwide, but I think even in the US. Because a major focus of gay leather in the beginning was this ode to masculinity. Think about the bad biker boys and the old school leather with like the chaps and the harnesses and the big muscles and the mustaches.
Think of like Tom of Finland.
Yeah, exactly.
Big, masculine, muscly guy.
And a big fucking cigar.
Giant fucking cigar in his mouth.
That's kind of how it, I think, embedded itself originally. So then, of course, kind of the thing was if you're a top or a dominant, you gotta smoke cigars because you gotta look the part. I actually just like cigars though. So I got into I can't
a badass boss bitch.
Yeah, smoking my cigar.
Yes.
I can't say I got into cigars before I got into the lifestyle. I smoked them outside of the lifestyle before incorporating them into the lifestyle because I've been in the lifestyle much longer than I've been smoking cigars. I did not start smoking cigars at 15. I started smoking cigars in my 20s. My early 20s, so a little less than...
Same.
Same, you toddler.
We do love you, even though you are the baby.
But it's okay.
So one of the classes that I teach, I do one for Cigar Service, which we'll touch on, which is what Kaitlyn was mentioning, and then kind of smoke and ash play. So there's kind of the ritual service side of cigar smoking, and then there's kind of the kinkier, I guess, side of cigars in general.
The hot side.
Although I love a good cigar ritual. I think the reason I like cigars is because it is ritualistic in nature on its own.
I think that's what attracts me to it. I just haven't gotten to really experience that side of it. Because my partner, he's a cigarette smoker, and he's
very casual cigar smoker.
He's a very casual cigar smoker.
And only the sweet ones.
Yes, and only the sweet ones. He likes the one spicy one.
The dud. He likes the dud.
He liked the dud that you hated the smell of.
Oh my god, that smelled like rotten leaves.
That one was a dud.
Basically it was
a dud. It was a dud. It'd been sitting out. It was a dud.
Yeah, so I don't get to do that side as much. And I'm itching to be can you please just, I know it's not service if it's not wanted, but can you please just sit through it once so I can do it?
You can do it with me. You can do it with me, that's fine. So I won't get too much, I think, into the actual cigar themselves. More we'll just focus on the service of the play part, I think, because
there can always be a sequel.
I could go for days, or come to one of my classes, and you can learn more about cigars themselves, how to choose them, and that kind of thing. The biggest thing about Cigar Service is if you are providing the service, cutting the cigar is your first step.
Yes.
There's a couple different ways to cut. There's the punch. Mm-hmm. There's a straight cutter or a guillotine, and then there's a V-cut, or also called a diamond cut.
Yep.
From the cigar perspective, people say that the reason you have these different cuts is because you want different draw on the cigar, how much smoke to come out at once, changes the flavor profile, different mouthfeel. I'm gonna bust everyone's bubble and say that scientifically, the difference in smoke draw is very negligible. It's 100% personal preference. Mm-hmm. If your first cigar was punched, you're gonna smoke punches. If it was straight cut, you're going to, because, it's kind of when you start drinking wine or beer, whatever your friend gave you the first time, you're going to drink that until you start to figure out what you like on your own. But the problem is, if you don't have a punch, people smash it too hard and smash the cap. Mm-hmm. Diamond cuts are a little safer because they usually have a safety guard on them. So you often cannot cut too deep. However, it's difficult if you have a torpedo style cigar, the one that look like the cartoons with the baby smoking. Whatever his name is.
A little torpedo.
Yeah, that's a torpedo cigar. It's shaped, you can't really do a V-cut on it because you'll just lop off the head, which is what you would do with a guillotine. If you cut too far in the cigar, you'll actually unravel your top or your dominant cigar, and that's not what we mean when we taste tobacco. It's going to end up in their teeth. It's very unpleasant. And I think the other big mistake people make when lighting their cigar is torching their cigar. Mm-hmm. yes, it is a cigar torch that you get. It looks like a welding item, like it's a very heavy duty lighter. But you don't want to totally shish kebab it. You know what I mean? You want it to toasting. We call it toasting for a reason. You just want to start to caramelize the leaves a little bit and let it light itself. If you burn a cigar, it's going to be acrid. It's going to be unpleasant. I have seen people that claim to smoke a lot of cigars and claim to know a lot about cigars, and they just shove the whole head of that cigar into the torch. It is black. It is uneven. It is unpleasant. And I weep from across the room, and I'm like, okay. It's okay. Apparently don't ever light my cigar.
They might have a lot of cigars. They might have a lot of terrible
cigars. Like, or maybe they just really like that burnt, acrid profile.
Some people like burnt toast. Some people like burnt cigars.
I don't know. I feel like the cigar. She's a lady. She needs a little more dignity. She's gonna end up on the ashtray, but she needs a little more dignity.
That's fair.
In my opinion.
Sounds like myself.
But yeah.
No, that's one aspect of the service that I'm still working on, because I either hold it way too far away or a little
3 years.
or a little bit too close, and I'm like, oh shit, that side's burnt now.
Yeah.
Let me turn it.
A little bit of a scorch will happen. This just comes with practice. You know, you rotate the cigar. If you're lighting for somebody else,
I'm much better at lighting for someone else than myself.
Either rotate the cigar. I am a bit butterfingers, so I will actually move my lighter in circles and hold the cigar still. Either way is totally acceptable. It's just about lighting the cigar evenly. If it burns unevenly, it's going to canoe, which means one side's going to burn in and it's going to look like a little boat, and it's not going to be fun for
I
the smoker.
am great at fixing those, though, because Sir always lights his, like, on one side, and then
I
he's
also
like,
feel
what
like
happens?
he's kind of a wet smoker, and some people are. If they, you know, some people have really wet mouths.
Yeah, he does.
And so that affects how the cigar draws. You're making the leaves damp, so the heat is dispersing evenly. So even if, for example, Kaitlyn, you light the cigar perfectly, he might fuck it up by smoking it unevenly, by making it with,
or he fucks it up himself by using a Bic lighter.
Oh no. Do we know why we don't use Bic lighters?
The type of fuel or lighting agent that's in them.
Stanky.
Yeah.
You want a clean burning fuel. So some purists say, oh, you have to use specific cedar, plank, wood. Look, stop. Okay? You're stressing yourself out. Matches are perfectly acceptable to use as long as they're sulfur-free. They don't have that stinky odor. And pretty much, unless it's a match you use for a barbecue or a fireplace, they're going to be sulfur-free anyway. And a butane burning light. So not a big lighter. Zippos, I don't think they're butane, are they?
Some of them are.
Some of them are.
If
and
it's
he
butane,
finally refilled that
if
one.
it's butane, if it's a clean burning gas, totally acceptable to use a lighter as well.
I was able to find cigar lighters on Amazon.
Very inexpensive. Don't
like,
spend a lot of money. $9, $10, $12. Like
I spent like $15 on mine
Which
because
is
I
nice
wanted like a nicer one.
Yeah.
Which I don't actually use for cigars. I use it for
Bootlegging?
in my leather stuff.
Yeah. Burning loose ends.
Burning strings and stuff. But yeah, I think I got mine for like $15.
Yeah.
And
I think ours was 10.
And the cutters you don't spend a lot on a cutter unless you just want some fancy cutter. You can get a perfectly good guillotine for $6. So if you're just getting into it, a lot of like Amazon, a lot of these stores online and stuff like that usually sell sets. They'll usually sell like a carrying case, lighter or two, a punch and a cutter and things like that together. Don't spend an arm and leg on it. Not for your first set. You know, it's like anything
I saw
you're getting
that
into.
were like $25 for
for the whole everything.
Thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would recommend to people. And also if you're not ready to commit to your own stuff, wherever you're going to be smoking, most likely that stuff is going to be there.
Yeah.
Especially if you're at an event where there's cigar service. Like I usually lend my boy to cigar services where we're at because I smoke cigars. He's fairly well trained.
He's learning quickly.
He usually buys bum cigars and practices cutting. So I'd always rather him fuck up my cigar than somebody else's. Yes. So normally he just lights because he's good at lighting. But on the tray that he carries, he's got cutters and punches and lights and ashtrays and things like that. So it's available to you. You just have to know where to look. And then, once the cigar is going, we get to the fun part.
So much more fun.
We get to the fun part. So, cigarettes are very quick. They're like a quick hit and go. You know, they don't last very long on purpose.
How you can chain smoke.
Yes, why people have to chain smoke. Yeah, I know. Aemok's face. But the cigar, since it is just tobacco, actually, if you're not drawing on it with some consistency, it will actually just go out. It won't keep burning, which is great. You save it for later. In order to ash your cigar, Most people, like when they smoke a cigarette, they're gonna flick it or tap it. Again, the cigar, she deserves more dignity than that. When she is ready, she'll come. Just like us. It's usually about a nice rolled cigar. Anything that's going to be a premium cigar, so long leaf filler, not that chopped up gut rut, about an inch. Half an inch to an inch. The ash will form as you smoke, and it will just let go when it's ready. Plus side is that the ash is quite cool when it falls. The bottom side is, if you're not ready, you'll be wearing it, which is where our ashing bottoms come to save the day.
Yes, because we will wear it.
Eat it. Or eat it. So
sometimes both.
Yes. So when you're ashing a cigar on human flesh, let's use palm of a hand as an example.
Yes.
You just want to tap the edge of the cigar, the ash point, not near the base where it's still burning. It is a very hot stick. Please don't.
That's how you lose your cigar, because the bottom squeals and flails their hands,
right?
And then your cigar goes across.
Because we're talking about ash play, not burning play, specifically. This is not intent to burn. Your intent is just to get the ash off your cigar, so you can continue to enjoy it, and so you don't end up with ash all over your nice leathers. You just want to be able to roll it off the tip. It's hard to explain with no visuals, but you've got YouTube. Look it up. You just want to roll it off the edge. The cigar ash should come off almost in a complete rectangle on its own, in one piece. That's the ideal. And it's quite cool to the touch once it's there. If you've ashed too early, it's going to struggle. If it doesn't come off instantly, it's not ready. Don't ash it. Not only are you putting the bottom at risk for burning, but also your cigar is going to end up with a red lit cone. That's how you know it's too early. It's now going to burn very hot in the middle, and you're going to get that awful acrid smell we were talking about earlier when you were lighting it too ferociously. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to ash in somebody's mouth, brings a whole different level of cautionary tales.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We don't want to inhale as the bottom.
I've made that mistake all of one time.
Yes. So even though I say the ash is cool, it is not completely cold necessarily.
It's warm. It's not going to burn you, but it can catch you off guard. It's inhaled
in your sinuses or down your esophagus. It could cause some burning, depending on how much of that cherry is still in there. Additionally, the ash is very, very fine. So it can get lodged in your sinuses, cause sinus infections. It can get lodged in your windpipe, cause scratching, cause other issues. It's an assumed risk.
It is.
So the best way to guard against that, I find, is if you have your mouth open, the back of your tongue kind of up against the roof of your mouth to close off the back. And then just don't breathe for a minute.
It also works great if you have a tongue that you can stick out.
Oh, yes, because Kaytlyn has a very small tongue.
I have never seen
a tongue that short. Like,
I swear your tongue tied. That is the farthest I've ever seen it.
She's
and you
really
had to, like,
she had to lean her head back for that.
Really, struggle. Yeah.
It barely gets, for our listeners, it barely gets past her bottom teeth.
No.
Her tongue just doesn't go out that far. And it's
piercers. Like, no, you don't have a tongue.
She'd love a tongue piercing, but there's nowhere to put it.
Sorry, ladies.
Yeah. Nowhere to put it.
His actual response to you was, wait, where's your tongue?
Where's your tongue?
And that I'd be a horrible lesbian. He somehow forgot that I have fingers.
Right, which are well, he's a man, so
well, that's true.
Yeah,
he's a man.
But anywho, back to this topic.
When you can't cover the back of your throat with your tongue because you have a tiny little tongue, what would you recommend then? Don't breathe in through your nose.
Don't breathe in. Generally, what I've
it's like sword swallowing. Hold on 1 second.
Generally, what I've come to do to work around that, because, like I said, I did inhale all at once. It wasn't even so much I inhaled, but I had my mouth open and my tongue out as far as I could. And when they ashed, it just kind of rolled down my tongue because there wasn't a flat part to my tongue.
I gotcha. Just straight down the back.
Yeah, just straight down.
Ooh, you weren't ready for that.
No, and we're talking about ending up all over their lap because I coughed it out basically.
Well, yeah, because you were ready.
And so I've taken to just having it in my hand, and then from the hand, I'll make eye contact with whoever ashed, and then I'll lick it.
Your hand. Okay, see, there are ways around it.
There are.
That's still incredibly sexy, because then it's very much like here of my own volition.
Also, the licking your hand.
The before side, yeah.
The before side, like...
If you're scared of it being a little warm, you can lick the palm or wherever you're going to put it.
It also seemed to make it a little stickier.
It does. So
it doesn't
roll away.
When you try to eat it, it's
doesn't
not
roll
like
away.
Escaping.
Yes, so it can crumble and roll away. Some bottoms like to play with it a little bit.
I do. I generally break it up, and then I'll
lick her whole hand.
I'll lick some of it. I'll play with my hands together.
Dirty, dirty girl.
I really like, and it's so... I do.
Oh, she's blushing.
One of my favorite things to do is I like to...
Oh, the clavicle.
Yeah, but you don't like to be licked, but I like to run my tongue along the clavicle, and then I put the ash there as well. So it doesn't roll away, because it's funny if it rolls away. You can also kind of cheat and kind of smush it with your finger as you go as the top, so you can keep it in place for a little bit. They can then have to keep it there for some time, you know, if you want to rub it all over.
You can try to tell the kid
to tell the bottom to lick it.
Who can't have a tongue to get down.
That's like a treat you can't reach.
I have the other problem. My tongue is
really long,
crazy long, and I can like...
Yeah,
without even like...
Yeah, so...
Let me lose like 5 pounds, my clavicles really stick out, and it's like the
They go.
perfect little
So you'll
tray.
dip it.
Over there.
Yeah.
So, what does cigar ash taste like? I know a lot of you out there are probably thinking, that sounds disgusting. You've smelled ashtrays, you've smelled old smoke.
It tastes
Most of the time,
like
that's
salt.
yes. It's going to get there.
Sorry.
But that's all right.
I was
Most
excited.
of this nasty smell is pretty much cigarette smoke. Let's be honest. It's gross. Don't do it. Stop that habit.
Don't vape either.
Don't vape either. Cotton candy clouds of lies. Cigar ash. It's 100% tobacco, and it's very salty. It's very fine. It's like very fine grained sand as far as the texture goes.
Yeah.
But
Almost like if you
salty.
just like take a mouthful of sugar without like dissolving it in something, it has like that almost
grainy,
like grainy texture
grainy,
to it.
but it's very fine. It does not taste the way a cigar smells.
Or the way a cigar smokes.
No.
Because I have made the mistake of thinking I would like to smoke a cigar because I like the ash. I did not.
I
did
wasn't
not.
ready. I guess we should cover some of those smoking basics since you're on that. Hey, if you're a cigarette smoker, please do not inhale a cigar.
Oh, no. I also did that my first time.
Yeah, they are not designed for inhaling. They're designed for tasting. You're just breathing into your mouth the smoke and then letting it out and just allowing the flavors on your tongue.
Is there a specific art to that? Because as a non-smoker, my brain is like, how do you breathe and not breathe?
It's kind of like when you hold your breath underwater. You're holding the air in your mouth.
For me, I can't do it if I'm not smoking. But if I, when I go to smoke, I'm thinking, okay, I can't inhale this all the way. And it's just kind of like a...
You know what? Actually, I take that back. I do the tongue thing. Where I was just like in my head trying to do it because I smoked a cigar earlier today.
You're like, hold on, how did I do that?
Because I don't think about it. It's very reflexive. Now, I just put the back of my tongue up to block the back of my throat when I inhale, so it can't go anywhere.
Or I just put my whole tongue up.
And you put it on. So I will say, if you are a cigarette smoker or a smoker of other items, the reflex is different, and you have to train yourself to smoke a cigar. If I tried to smoke a cigarette or another vegetable, I wouldn't do it right because I would probably just hold it in my mouth and let it out because I am been trained to smoke cigars. What?
I just had the how is this compute in my brain?
Yeah.
When I open bottles for
Yes.
sodas or beers, and it's got that little wisp of that first, I will inhale that just into my mouth to taste it.
Yep,
But
exactly.
it doesn't go anywhere. That must
Exactly.
be the
That's the reflex.
the muscle
There you go.
that I
Yep,
use
there you go.
for
Good
that.
enough. Yeah, that's gonna. I'm like, I don't know how to compare it to anything. Just smoke a cigar. I don't know. Oh no, that's terrible.
You'll do it wrong once and you'll never forget.
Honestly,
Because that shit burns.
It
so
does.
bad.
It's terrible. It's terrible if you inhale it. So please don't do that. Shotgunning smoke is nice, but again, that's another one of those things where you're not really supposed to inhale it.
No.
Even though some people do. Not you. Another one. Another bottom I did a shotgun.
Oh,
She actually swallowed the smoke.
That sounds really yummy, but at the same time, ouch.
But I think she might be a smoker as well. I don't want to use names, but I think she might also be a smoker. So I think to her it was very natural just to smoke.
It's instinct.
Yeah.
But shotgunning smoke is sexy.
It
That
really
It's super hot to watch.
So for those of you that don't know what shotgunning something is, or shotgunning smoke is, one person fills their mouth with smoke, and you can either actually put your mouths together or get your mouths just a few millimeters apart.
If you really want to be mean to the person you're giving it to.
The smoker breathes out and into the mouth of the other individual. And that way the other individual kind of gets that secondhand smoke, and then when that individual exhales, the smoke finally comes out from between the two of them. So that's quite nice as well.
Yeah, it is.
She's like, blow smoke in my face, Daddy.
I wasn't prepared for this topic today. I'm not wearing the right pants.
She's wearing pants
or
at all.
underwear.
She's wearing pants at all.
I was about gonna say, you're probably not wearing underwear.
I'm not wearing underwear. There's no panties to drop. My whole leggings are just going to be like, ah!
I think what I love, one of the things I love about smoking a cigar as a ritual and as a, I guess that's a hobby, I don't know what to call it. You have an instant connection with other people that smoke cigars. Like when I go to a cigar bar, even though I change the demographic a lot of the times in the cigar bar, because I'm a woman and I'm not over 60, people people in those locations, generally speaking, tend to talk with you and, oh, what are you smoking? And they start a conversation with you. Oh, how long have you smoked? Because I think people are really fascinated when there's somebody that's not kind of like the norm for cigar smoking, doing it in public, knowing what they're doing, kind of shedding the light on it and things like that. So like even today when I was at the cigar bar, me and like 8 other old dudes, because it was the middle of the day, because I work from home. So I had a lunch at the cigar bar. Just totally normal. Gentleman just come sit next to me. Oh, may I sit here? Yeah, sure. Oh, what are you smoking? And I was smoking a handmade cigar from Ybor. And, he had a big brand name, because obviously he's a dude at a cigar bar in the middle of the day. He's probably retired.
Probably.
And he was.
I was not stereotyping.
He was. He told me, oh, I'm retired. I was like, you're here, so I made that estimation. But yeah, you talk like your old friends, and it's kind of a nice communal thing to do, which is, I think, why at kink events, when they do cigar socials there, it's also an opportunity to sit down. It's a little bit, sometimes it can be a bit like a dick swinging contest.
Yeah.
I guess that's
okay to anything.
Yeah.
But
definitely
I still enjoy them thoroughly. I
mean, that's actually where we met the first time.
Is it really?
It's technically where we like had our first like words exchanged too.
After you blew me off?
Yes.
Yes, like 2 years after I blew you off, to be exact.
Can you apologize? No, I don't think you did.
I didn't want to talk to you because my sir actually had said that you were supposed to be having a drink with him. And he didn't want me to come out there, but I was, because it was your sir, or your sir, your sir's
covered.
Right. Oh, and so he didn't want me to come. It was all the same night.
Was it?
No, I definitely saw you earlier.
No.
Was it?
No, yeah, me and you knew each other.
I knew of you, yeah.
We met at one of the cigar nights with FPE.
That's it, right, because it was by the pool.
Right.
Oh, yes. I never went to those before this past one. I went with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's where
you were on the floor.
No. Yeah. I was with my sir and I was sitting on the floor.
I was sitting with your sir having a chat.
Yeah.
That's right. He was smoking a chocolate flavored stick.
Yes.
He likes this. Smelled delightful.
As an outsider for like the kink events, the cigar socials at kink events and such, I like them because it is more of a like relax, hang out.
Down.
Yeah. Unlike, I mean, I will say I am not biased, or I am biased because I hate cigarettes. Like, the smoking area for that has a lot of, like, chaotic energy going on with it.
Because they're like, it's like a need. It's
like, they're all, like, spazzy. They have to do
They're like, I've been in the classes all day. I need, hold on.
I've been in the classes for 2 hours. I have to go get it.
Right.
Oh, we all know who I'm talking about. We all know.
Oh, I need to go to the bathroom. 30 minutes later in the same class. Where the hell did he...
You're like, man, what did he...
Oh, sorry. I went outside for a cigarette and got caught up talking. I was like,
He's not the only one.
Everyone did.
I have a human related to me who also does that shit.
Yeah.
Drives me bananas, but I can't say anything. So it's a very, like, chaotic energy.
Yeah.
Where the cigar socials tend to be very... Everyone's relaxed and chatting, and they're not, like... They're not chain smoking. They're like, get through one cigarette to get to this. Like, everyone's like, oh, relax.
Take an hour.
Enjoy their cigars. No one's in a rush to do something else.
Don't rush a cigar. I think that's why I really like it too, because our lives are so busy and chaotic that when I light a cigar, I'm dedicating time to not be doing things other than smoking the cigar. And taking that moment and being like, okay, relax, have this nice cigar. And cigars don't have to be 2 hours long. Some cigars only run 30, 40 minutes. But it's still that time where you're forced to kind of enjoy the ritual, enjoy the moment, and just relax.
Also, the introvert spot.
Oh, yeah.
Versus the extrovert spot.
That's my home base. I love
it. My sir, that's the two of you were like, oh, we can sit here and talk a little bit, but also Just sit here and
not talk.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Just like, la la.
And no one's going to talk to us.
Yes.
It's perfect.
Well, that's because you guys are both terrifying.
Together, absolutely.
Separately, you are both very powerful energies to come up against. And then when you're together, it's like...
It creates a nice big bubble.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm going to borrow your bubble.
It's not a bubble, it's fucking tent.
It's a tent. Get out. You're not invited. Get out.
Between Madame Hexe and Master Shadow, it is very intense.
Oh, yeah.
Indian. But it's quite nice because we can recharge, and then when we're like, okay, we would separate and go human for whatever we get to human for.
I like the vibe.
You like the vibe, yeah. But as far as like, so you cigarette smoke, no good for you, traumatic, terrible. How has spending more time around cigars in general, cigar service? I know that you actually attended one of my cigar classes with your family. How does that impact you differently? Has it been positive? Has it been neutral?
It's actually been very positive. The first time Floor Power Exchange had a cigar social, I was really upset because it was also where the boot blacking was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can be around that
Now, were you
much.
working boot black or you just wanted to get boot blacked?
No, I was going to work.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to work at the boot black stand.
I gotcha, okay.
Because I'm a boot black, I wanted to do that, but I couldn't because of the spacing.
Right.
It was at the old hotel, not the new hotel.
Right. Okay.
So it was a very, like, cramped space for it.
Right.
I was really concerned about the amount of smoke. I had not really been around cigars too much, so I had no idea, like, the differences.
Right, sure.
All I could think is there's going to be a ton of people smoking, like, cigarettes and cigars and whatever, and, like, I can't do it.
No.
In my family, one of the requirements is, whether it's in your bag or whatever, is to have a lighter.
Okay, right.
I spoke to my family when I started with them, explained what my
trauma was,
and what things I could or couldn't do.
Right.
And they were understanding. They gave me, like,
a pass, kind
of.
A
pass. I don't have to do that. I can't light cigars. I can't clean, or sorry, not cigars, cigarettes. I can't, like, lighting a cigarette, which is something that would commonly have happened for an S-type in our family.
Right.
Not my jam. I can't do it.
Right.
I can't clean ashtrays because of...
I've never lit a cigarette before.
I have lit in many.
You have, and because I don't smoke cigarettes, and I've never. It's
basically the opposite of smoking a cigar. You use a Bic lighter, sometimes a match if you can, but you stick the entire end in and then pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
it occurred to me I've never lit a cigarette before.
I had avoided the cigar socials because of that fear. And so the cigar social that I met you at FPE, but at a different hotel, a different setup, was actually my first.
Much more open, the area, the whole pool area. Yeah.
Yep, it was much more open. So that was actually my first time
at
a cigar
You looked
social.
very at home. I mean, you were at your sister's feet, so of course you were at home.
Right.
You were at home.
I can be at home anywhere as long as I can sit at my sister's feet.
No.
Like, that's the thing. Squishy, submissive moment of the evening.
It's true, though. Like, that is, like...
You can't see it, but
everything
that
else is away.
So big.
I'm just gonna drink my bubbles.
No, what I mean by that is I know you look very relaxed, and I know obviously that was 99% obviously because of your sir.
Yeah, but it was also that at that social, there wasn't anyone smoking cigarettes.
Right.
And the smell that I was worried about was not overpowering.
Right.
It was very dramatically different than what I expected because I assumed a cigar social would be basically the same thing as the smokers area.
Yeah, right, but bigger.
During the day, but like with cigars.
Right.
And I was like, this is
terrible. Why would we do this?
Right.
Completely a different vibe, different setup, different atmosphere, which made it a lot more comfortable.
Right.
So I started going to them more often.
Right.
Because my sir does not smoke cigars frequently, but he does at events. He enjoys one here or there.
Yeah, little ones. Yeah, just a little taste.
Yeah. And so we started hanging out, and then started talking to you about cigars and cigar service. I got to watch your class, which, fuck, I was like damn near cumming myself in the pool.
The pool was fabulous. Oh,
yes.
Oh, I know. And Daddy Doug's like, oh, you can start your class now. I'm like, oh, I have. Click.
To set that scene, she was perched on the edge of a pool with her feet dangling and her boy beneath her.
In my retro bathing suit.
In her,
cute, like 1950s bathing suit.
And your little sun hat.
Oh, my sun hat, because I don't want to burn.
No. Far too delicate, my dear.
Just fucking owning an entire room filled of 98% gay men. They all stopped. And that was the first time that I had seen the play part of it.
Right. Oh, yeah, because my boy bottomed.
Yeah, he bottomed.
He was my little ashtray. That was his first public ash.
I know, it was so precious.
He did so I would have never guessed that was his first
scared.
time.
I told him that he didn't have to try it if he wasn't ready to.
I think he did.
He did. No, he went in all. Yeah, he went all in. But I told him prior. I said, look, like I'm not going to make you eat it because it's your first. He'd never eaten before. That's his first time eating ever ash. And then that was his first time ever experiencing being an ashtray all publicly or something like that. So it was a lot of firsts.
Remarkable because he's so painfully shy.
He's precious.
Like, my introvert side is like trying to like, I
was trying to move him a bit away because we were right at the edge of the pool. He was in the pool, so I could reach him, from sitting on it. And I was like trying to push him away a little bit because he was basically up my butt because he was so close because he was scared.
But he did excellent. Like,
he did I'm very proud of him. Yeah, no, I was very proud of him. Yeah,
but he did excellent. But I got to see more of like the play aspects of it. I'm also really like a ritual whore.
Oh, yeah,
well, the cigar is all ritual, yeah.
Like, I have definitely gone to specific church services just so I can like enjoy the ritual.
I love that. I love that. So you infiltrate churches just to see the sit, kneel, sit, seal, that bit.
Yeah.
Stations of the Cross, that do it for you.
I found a kneeling bench we need for the dungeon.
Yeah, there's one on Etsy.
Yes.
There's one on Etsy, and I'm like, don't worry, there lots of prayers will happen on this bench. The boy and I were joking.
Please, Daddy, can I have more?
The boy and I were joking. I don't know why we were talking about title running or whatever. I was like, you realize if we ever did a fantasy scene, it'd have to be a religious one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it would have to be, because he's like the good little Catholic schoolboy.
He is.
He laughed, but nervously.
So I don't. It's funny because I don't have as much of the like religious thing, though. If I got to see you in like a head to toe latex.
I am looking for a latex. If somebody out there makes a latex cassock or a latex nun's outfit, and I don't want a full length dress. I'm looking for a bodysuit with a habit. That's what I'm looking for. Let me know. I'm in the market.
I would love to see you in that.
Like my yellow one, my new yellow one. Did you like that one?
Yes. It's actually like the ritual of it. It's not necessarily the religion part of it.
Yeah.
I also have a part of my undergraduate degree is in religious studies.
He was a Catholic schoolboy, and I was a Catholic schoolgirl. Technically.
Technically.
Yeah. So it's not. But it's the ritual. It's the like.
I just want to touch his childhood in strange ways.
Like the cigarettes.
Yeah, like with you. Not with him, with you.
Yeah.
So the ritual of it, of the service of preparing it, is intriguing. I'm
just saying, you can be an altar boy whenever you'd like.
I'm working on the form. But for me, like that, I was like, oh, I like that. And I saw the like, it's not as much about. It is about smoking the cigar, but like the service, the bottom aspect of it is more of that like. Ritualistic being of service.
Right. You're in the waiting. You're lady in waiting, as it were.
Right. In my family's history and tradition, that kind of service is very common. Up until now, it's not been something I've been able to provide. And so I am interested in, if I can't say I will be able to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Because I do have, like, I'm going into this knowing that I have had previous trauma with this. While this is a different type of thing,
it can still push the same buttons.
It's close enough that it could trigger something.
Push some buttons, but it's something that my sir really likes to do occasionally.
Yeah.
And if it's something that I can learn to give, like...
Just even occasionally.
Like, occasionally provide, even if I can't do the full service.
Right.
But maybe I can, like, cut it.
Light it
or give it to him to let, like...
Right, something where you can be a part of it.
We can modify the ritual of it to where I'm still being of service.
You're still participating.
To Master Shadow and, like, still being useful.
Right,
in a ritualistic way.
Even if it's just handing him the items to do it himself.
You could be the really tray for the thing. Yeah, and that's something you'll work out.
Yeah, service-oriented justification!
Get you one of those trays around your neck.
I love those.
I tied someone into one of those one time.
Oh, fun!
Yeah.
I taped the boy's hand like a waiter, like this. I tied his finger to his elbow and then put a tray on him.
Phoenix Rose got pterodactyled. and then
yes.
I call it pterodactyl because they get like little
chicken wings.
Little flaps.
Chicken
They
wings.
get little wings, and then some people call it a T-Rex.
I do T-Rex.
Is like
T-Rex is hands down.
right.
Pterodactyl's hands
Pterodactyl
up. Okay,
hands
that's the
up.
differential.
And so she was pterodactyled, and then we took a like table tray, like one of the ones you have on your table, and tied that to her and put the snacks on the tray. But then she had to figure out how to provide those, like hand the things to
with
them.
her tiny.
So she could only like barely rotate her hands to get to the things.
Just to get
it was hilarious.
to dole out the snacks.
But yes.
Very big, like, we were talking about fantasy scenes from earlier. That's another one of them. I partially fulfilled it in a stationary setting.
Oh, right, where you were like,
I was
statuary.
Okay.
Yeah.
FYI, Kaitlyn, Kayce, and myself are both very into service-oriented objectification.
Yes.
And I'm very interested in participating in these things as well. I love artwork that is functional.
Any day.
When I think of service as types, like in that sense, I think of them as functional art.
Oh, yeah.
It's something very appealing to look at, but it's serving a purpose.
You can put me on your wall any day.
Right now she just wants to be bent over my couch, but that's fine. That's fine too.
In like 3 weeks, we'll have our own dungeon.
That's
yeah.
Right. We'll have a new space. That's right.
Will.
That's right.
And obviously you'll have access to
set space.
The polycule.
It's true, since that
dungeon.
cross belongs to me.
Yes.
But it does need reinforced.
Yes.
Please do not.
No, I already made that.
Yeah,
I was like,
we'll be making sure everything is like solidly like.
Yes.
And by we, I mean
us
her
too.
and I.
Right. You'll be like the foreman of the construction site. Let them do the lifting, but you be the double check.
Yeah.
They pick things up. We make things smart.
Yes.
I do love our guys.
They're precious. We dig on them so much, but we love them.
We do. We dig on them because we love
They'll
them.
occasionally do something like, aw.
Right.
You were listening.
Or then they post it like in the group chat earlier.
Which one?
You don't want affection now, but you were being a whore 10 minutes ago on social media.
And you're like, all right, well, first off, that's my job.
Exactly.
First off.
Like, literally, that's me. Are you complaining or complimenting?
Meme jokes.
Yes. Oh, God, the memes. Not part of Cigar Service.
No.
Please don't bring memes into the cigar world. Ruining it.
Oh, God.
No, just stop right there.
God.
No.
Titties.
So, yeah. I'm definitely making cigar memes now. This will be how I work through things. It's like, I make you memes.
No,
Yes.
make me a meme for Cigar Service. Oh, my loves. Desecrating my loves. It's fine. It's cool. Actually, you know what? You got sometimes you have to take cigars down a notch. Because let's be honest, they originally started as the poor man's smoke. It was a bunch of leaves rolled together. They were very ragged. They were not the beautiful things they are today. And everyone smoked them, and they were like 20 cents. They became an elevated item. So sometimes it's good to go back to your roots of trash. Or we could just leave them elevated. We could just leave them up on the pedestal.
I do like trash pandas.
You're trash. Okay.
Please, Daddy, can I have more?
She says she doesn't like degradation.
I said I have a very fine line of flirting with degradation. We had that conversation over the weekend, too.
We did. She's an ashtray. But a dignified ashtray.
Yes, I am a dignified lady.
Yes.
That ends up as the ashtray.
She's like, I'll eat that ash, but you better say nice things to me while I do it.
There was the one time, though, I found one ash I don't like the taste of.
What?
And I found it in the oddest way. It was possibly the sexiest way I've ever eaten. No, it wasn't the sexiest way I've ever eaten ash. I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But we were at a cigar social, and I was off. I think I was seeing you and your boy off. All of a sudden, Sir calls me over. I was like, what? He goes, you weren't here. I was like, what? And I looked down, and on his kilt, like, that was, like, bowed out, like, between his legs.
Why was it bowed out? Oh,
no,
he's sitting down.
Yeah, he was sitting down. So it was straight.
I was like,
bowed would be like coming out.
I was like, that's not the right word, but it's the only one coming.
Tinted. All right, so
we've had that issue too.
Yeah.
That's when my guys walk past him.
Yes.
Right.
It was
your sir was wearing a kilt. It was sitting down.
Yes.
And you're talking about the bit of fabric that goes between the knees.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And his ash had fallen there. And he was like, you weren't here.
It's dirty.
I was like, oh no. And so I immediately got on my knees and licked it, like the entire ash worth off of his kilt. Only to find out I did not like the ash at all and immediately spit it back out on him. Proceeding to like, I don't like that. No, sorry, I don't like that.
He's like, he didn't throw up on him.
Right? It was, so it was the end of the night, so I wasn't embarrassing him, except for people who always see him embarrassed and like to embarrass him too. Basically, your story knows.
My family.
We have a very casual.
Yes, we have a very relaxed dynamic, and I wasn't in service to like actively in service that evening. I was also, there with my girlfriend.
You're just adorable, so it's fine.
Yeah, and it was and like people know I love Ash. Like, that was one of the first things they saw me as, especially with him, like, because he used to have a girl, and I was the ashtray.
Yeah.
But, and so immediately...
He likes eating ass. They're a good couple.
Right?
It's cute.
I don't like my ass eaten.
No, that's why he has other girlfriends.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah. No, we know.
Okay.
You like eating ass.
He likes eating ass. Perfect. We complete you. And so
it was gross.
I got up, I was like,
it
oh
the
God. It was a cigar he was smoking. And like, I didn't mind the cigar when I like took a puff of it.
But it was
the ash was horrible.
It was
so bad.
You never know.
It was so bad. And to the point, like, I went over to like, because he had bought it from them for the fundraiser. And I like took a picture of the listing. I was like, never get again. This one. I like circled it with a little writer thing. I was like, never again.
So tell us about the sexiest time you've eaten ash.
Oh, okay. It was actually it was a whole bunch of firsts for me, and there was a very gorgeous lady who used to be in the area who I hadn't met before she moved, but she was at an event with me, the Woman of Germany event that I went to in Maryland this past year. We were cabin mates. And so, like, I kind of buddied up to her because I didn't know anyone. And we knew people that knew each other. And so it was easier than, like, meeting someone completely cold turkey.
Sure.
Not cold turkey, like, right off the bat.
Same, I guess.
Words are weird. Anywho, but we went to the cigar social that they were having. And the lovely group that was hosting it brought, I guess they own a cigar shop. And so they just brought tons of cigars to give out to everyone. So like they had a nightcap, they had flavored ones, they had non-flavored ones, they had hand-rolled ones, all sorts of things.
Something for everyone.
Yeah, and they did like a very brief class on ash play and ash. So the presenter had it was a very relaxed. It wasn't like a class, but it was like, if you're here, I'll share this info.
It's how I usually do it at Cigar Socials.
It's how you usually do it.
Until people were like, hey, you should do that officially. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
And so they had we got there right as the person had taken the ash off their cigar with a knife tip. It was a good, like, inch-long ash, and they were talking about how if a cigar burns nicely and you can get a whole, like, inch or two of ash on just the tip. And they're like, but we don't have any bottoms here, and went to, like, dump on the ground, and we're both like, no way! Because the other girl and I were both ash bottoms. Yeah. We're like, wait, no! And she was like, well, I can't split it. And we just looked at each other. Granted, we'd met each other maybe 6 hours prior. We're like, you want to share it? They're like, well, we can't. Do you want us to, like, put it on a hand? We're like,
no, just.
It's like, are you good with mouth to mouth? I'm good with mouth to mouth.
We're good with mouth.
Okay. And so they placed it off the knife, which also I have a very big knife kink.
Right.
Into the other girl's mouth, who then closed her mouth slightly, turned to me as we kissed, and she pushed half the ash into my mouth, and we swallowed it, and everyone around us paused for a minute and was like,
yeah.
Fuck, no one got a video.
Oh, no!
Yeah, and so that was the hottest time I've ever taken ash. That's why I always offer for your boy to have ash out of my mouth.
I was gonna say, so you would lick ash off my tongue? Is that what you're saying?
She literally just came in that chair. Literally.
Daddy, can I?
Absolutely. I used to have to eat ash when I was on the S side. So I get into it. Ooh, look! She's hiding. She's bright red. Kitty.
No. Okay.
But in the interest of wrapping up, cutting a cigar, be delicate. Whether you use a punch or a V-cut or a straight cut,
don't just smash it.
Be kind to it. What?
You can always cut again, but you can never put it back on.
Right.
Yes.
Right. You can cut too little, but if you cut too much, it's done, and just let it die. When you're lighting a cigar, we're toasting a cigar, not flambeing. We don't want to burn it. Don't shove it in the flame. Don't hold it there for seconds. Go in circles. You want to light it around. When you have a red light around the whole foot of the cigar, you're good to go. A couple draws, and you're going. Draw on it every 30 to 60 seconds to keep it lit. Otherwise, it'll go out. When we're ashing on people, if the ash is not ready to fall, you do run the risk of burning your bottom if you're going to force it. So take that into consideration if burning is or is not part of your negotiations. Mm-hmm. Do not inhale when you are putting it in your mouth. And I'm just going to say it. Please don't put this in other orifices besides your mouth. Do not put it in your anus. Do not put it in your vagina. Just don't. It's just not, that's not what they're for.
It's very unsafe.
It's very unsafe for your orifices. It's very, as far as the vagina goes, you have a pH problem, a lot of issues. You can actually get cut by some of the edges on the tobacco leaf. You can get micro tears and abrasions like that. That can lead to all kinds of infections.
Those are also super absorbent.
Absorbent. So in the anus as well, the nicotine can be absorbed through blood vessels and things like that. The same kind of micro tears can happen. Don't stick in your ear either, you weirdo.
What about the belly button?
I guess that's fine. But depending on if you have tummy rolls or not, you might break your cigar and then your cigar is gone. So at your own risk.
Okay.
And have fun.
Yes.
Have fun with it. Don't inhale the smoke when you take your puff. And try around. There's so many different types of cigars. The play can vary from ashing to blowing smoke to using smoke almost like as an incense in the background. Play around, educate yourself. Go to some cigar socials.
Yeah. Both
at regular cigar bars in a non-kinky setting to get a feel for the cigar vibe, the cigar lifestyle, the ritual behind it. Because even though people at a normal cigar bar aren't going to do it for the same purposes as like a kinky cigar social, there's still that very deep-seated element of ritual that everybody observes. Everyone does it a little bit differently.
And if you don't know where you're starting from, if you're brand new to all of it,
talk to a tobacconist.
I was going to say, when I've gone to the to the cigar shops, the staff has seemed very willing to walk somebody through to help them, find something new if they're looking to explore, or find something if they've never smoked cigars before.
Go to a gas station. Please don't buy that shit. Go to a tobacconist. Go to a smoke shop. They're very knowledgeable. Give them a price point. A good cigar does not have to be doesn't have to be $35 a stick. You can get a nice cigar depending on where you're at. Like obviously, if I'm in New York, the tobacco is insanely expensive versus when we're here in the Tampa Bay area, you can get a really high quality stick for about $7. So it's going to depend on where you're at, but don't be afraid to ask and don't be a chooch. Okay, a chooch is what we call somebody in a cigar shop that thinks they know everything, but they don't, and they're normally trash. So don't be a chooch. If you don't know, ask. Most people that work at those shops are very excited to talk about it anyway. You just want to lick ash out of my mouth. That's all you're thinking about.
Yeah. So I've been gone.
Her brain is gone.
Broken
her brain is broken. Well, see you in class.
She's hiding again.
And you, Mark, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think, talking to professionals, you don't have to tell them it's for kinky purposes.
No.
But to learn flavor profiles and styles that you prefer and things like that is really important.
Right.
And just, you'll find something positive quicker if you go that route than just trying to figure it out yourself or hitting up 7-Eleven.
Don't sniff cigars wrapped in cellophane. You look like a fool. You cannot smell them, okay, through the cellophane. By design. And nobody wants to buy a cigar that you've shoved up your whiskers, okay? So please don't if the cigars are wrapped in cellophane, don't sniff them. If they're not wrapped in cellophane, hey, don't sniff them because somebody else is going to buy them, you gross thing. And if you sniff them, your tobacconist is going to make you buy it.
Right. Sniff them after you bought it.
Yes. Right? You can hold it in your hands and kind of waft it like you would perfume, but don't rub your nose on it, you nasty bastard. That was my last bit, I promise. That was it. That was my last chooch move is sniffing cigars. Don't put it in your mouth and use a community cutter either, you dirty bugger. Nasty. All right, I'm gonna go. All my pet peeves will come out. We have to wrap this up then.
On that note,
remember,
trouble comes in threes.
And get fucked.
Yay!
Oh. Well, in this case, I get smoked.
Yes. Please.